We're back with another team selection ahead of Game Week 25. Now what you see on screen is my points for Game Week 24, but the bonus points haven't been updated just yet. But on the left hand side, all of the bonus points have been accumulated into that. So I got 62 points overall and I took a -4 hit. I'm going to be delving into Game Week 24, talking about a few decisions that I took, and some of them didn't go according to plan, and that has kind of been the story for the last 10 game weeks or so. Then I'm going to be talking about my Game Week 25 plans, whether that is changed from my last few team selection videos, and also other players that I've got my eye on and that could be coming in very soon. So let's just get straight into it. Let's just start off with the goalkeepers, and that's already probably the biggest mistake I made this week. I started De Gea instead of Ramsdale. I looked at the fixture and I thought that Burnley were less likely to score than Wolves, but then at the same time you have to factor in how good the defence is of that goalkeeper you're playing, and Ramsdale plays in an Arsenal defence which is one of the best in the league. With Man United though, they've only kept 5 clean sheets this season, and David De Gea, as much as he's been a very good FPL asset, in terms of clean sheets he's nowhere near as good as Ramsdale, and the both times that I've actually benched Ramsdale he's done very well. There was that performance against Leicester, and then once again against Wolves. He got 9 points overall, so he got 2 bonus points on top of the 7 that you see on screen, so that definitely didn't turn out right. That's a loss of 7 points. The other big decisions that I made, which actually caused me to lose points, was taking a -4 hit. I got rid of Marcos Alonso and Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Luca Digne and Edouard, and even if Livramento didn't play, if I had just played him and Dennis, I actually would have made more points from that. So a few decisions there that didn't go right. I also still have Gray. He came off very early for Dele Alli. He picked up a hip injury, and Gray has just been another woeful signing. I've made plenty of those in recent weeks, but let's look more at the positives. Trent and Cancelo, although most people in the game do own them, and they just always seem to be dependable, and I was actually considering them for the captaincy over Bowen. In the end, I kept at it and stuck with Bowen, but Diego Jotte, I kept talking about the fact that he only had 2 bonus points this season, and what does he do this time? Scores a brace and he nets all 3 bonus points. That's how funny FPL and football can be sometimes, and there you go. So congratulations to anyone who did captain Jotte, the best captaincy option this week, and I think that there was quite a lot of different ones to choose from with Kevin De Bruyne, Heung-min Son. If I had those two, I probably would have captained them over Bowen, and in the end it's sometimes those that you least expect. In my case it was Jotte. I thought he could do well, but I wasn't so sure if he would accumulate the bonus points, but with Salah not in the starting 11, that also did help. But even when he did come on, Jotte scored. So, you know, you've got to be happy with that. I still have him at least. It could have been much worse. Looking at the bright side here, Foden once again blanking, and to be honest, I'm quite willing to get rid of him. And that was the plan anyway heading into Game Week 25. I'll be talking about that later. Diego Jotte was someone I considered maybe getting rid of for Coutinho next week, but to be honest, after that performance, I can afford to wait a little while longer. And also Jotte has that double game week, and he has been one of the best options this season, especially in midfield. Rafinha has been a very disappointing signing so far. I know what he's capable of, but ever since bringing him back in, he's just not been doing the business, and he does have a double in 26, so let's see how he does. But in hindsight, I wish I went for Coutinho instead, but sometimes these 50-50 decisions go against you, sometimes they go for you. At least I captained a decent player this week in terms of how many points they netted. Ronaldo though didn't even start, and stuff like that, and also Gray being injured very early on. I just had a feeling what kind of week this would be, and I actually have gone down so much. I was around the top 100k and now I'm 162, so I need to find something out of somewhere, and making a few signings over the next few weeks, taking a few more hits and being aggressive might be the way to play it. Edouard was a bit unlucky in my opinion. I know he's not really been getting the full 90 in recent weeks, but I don't think many people expected him to be on the bench when he did very well against Norwich last time round. But sometimes football's like that, and the managers have to think tactically and not just about what's best for our FPL teams. But that's my Game Week 24 review. I got 62 points overall, but I took a -4, so that's 58. Still, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm happy because I've been going down so much recently, but I still think that there is enough in this team to salvage, and I don't need to use the wild card. And also just the timing of the wild card and the other kind of chip strategies I have in play, it doesn't really work harmoniously. I think the best thing for me to do is not use the wild card, focus on using the triple captaincy in 26 when I bring back Salah, but before that I need to make some transfers in order to make all of that possible. And now I'm going to be showing you how my team is lining up without transfers heading into Game Week 25. Thankfully there's no kind of goalkeeper decision to make here with Ramsdale blanking. De Gea has a double game week, so he will be in goal and possibly my vice captain. If not, I can just go for Cancelo or maybe even Cucurella to spice things up. I'll be honest though, I'm not that confident in Ronaldo, despite the fact that I think he will score in this double if he actually does start the games. I would rather have Bruno Fernandez as my captain this week, but the defence looks pretty decent. Cancelo and Trent have 2 good fixtures there, and Liverpool and City should be able to do pretty well. So whether both of those players get an assist, a goal, or a clean sheet, maybe even all three, that would be more than handy. But at the same time, the ownership is so high that to really take advantage of their defences, you really need to double up with Robertson, or in City's case with Aymeric Laporte or another defender of your choice. I've got Cucurella. I'm happy to keep him up until Game Week 28. But after that, that's when I could be looking to sell him. But you never know. In Game Week 29, something could happen, maybe a double for Brighton, who knows? And I will keep him for another week. But I think that double could be something like Liverpool and City, so it's not really that enticing. My midfield also looks pretty good with Foden facing Norwich, Jotte facing Burnley, just like the defenders, and Bowen's facing Leicester. I think that's a pretty good fixture right now, as proven by Jotte's haul, and also how poor Leicester have been in recent weeks. Rafinha away to Everton, that's also a good fixture. Leeds have been scoring quite a few goals recently, but Rafinha not that involved, even though that performance against West Ham gave me plenty to be confident about, and that's why I brought him back in. Sometimes these things don't turn out the way in which we expect it to. Dennis is in the starting 11 against Brighton, but ever since Roy Hodgson has come into the team, it's a defence-first approach. But Dennis can still do well. He had a few moments where he looked threatening against West Ham, but at the same time, I wouldn't really bank on Watford attackers to really come through for us. As weird as it sounds, the same can be applied to Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's why I'm tempted to make another signing to cover double game weeks in 25 and not go for Ronaldo as my captain. But I would still rather have Ronaldo this week than not have him, but at the same time, long term, he is always going to be offloaded. And with Edouard, he does play Brentford. That's a pretty decent fixture. My bench is also decent with Digne facing Newcastle. Let's see how Gray's injury is. And he would play Leeds. That's not a bad fixture. But do I really back Everton? Not so much. And Livramento away to Man United. But at least I have quite a few options to come on if needed, but I'm still looking to make a transfer, and I've got 4.2 million left in the bank, so I think a lot of you can guess where I'm going to go. Some people will still be in two minds whether to go for Salah this week or in 26. In my case, I'm going to keep it simple, bring Salah back in Game Week 26. I don't think he's got a great record against Burnley. I don't think he's ever scored against them, if I'm not mistaken, so I can afford to wait another week. That doesn't mean Salah's definitely going to blank, by the way. I think he will probably do well, but I can wait, and then I can bring him back in when the time is right. But let's focus on that double Game Week 25 player that we all are thinking about. You've probably guessed it by now. Bruno Fernandez would come in for Phil Foden, and I would have 0.5 million left in the bank. And I already talked about the reasons why I would prefer keeping Jotte. One, he has a double game week in 26. He's also shown more consistency throughout the season. Foden hasn't really set the world alight whenever I've got him, really, and he tends to haul when I don't have him, but that's obviously not playing a part in the reasoning. That's just kind of a personal bias thing coming in. But I would prefer Jotte, having him from now until the rest of the season, despite that blank in Game Week 27 for Liverpool. And Bruno would be my captain, I believe. It's between him and Ronaldo, but with Bruno's recent form, and he even had a assist disallowed recently against Burnley, I still would rather go for him than Ronaldo, who can sometimes be benched. Will he play both games? And I know it sounds so crazy to really, wrap our heads around this, but he might not even start both games. Do I think he will? Yes, but that doesn't mean he's guaranteed to do so. Bruno Fernandez, meanwhile, should start both games, and he's also got a very good record against Brighton and even against Southampton when they won 9-0 last season, which seems like a long time ago. Bruno was also very instrumental in that and got around 17 points. So Bruno will be my captain. I think he's one of the best captaincy options over the next few weeks with this double, but both of these United players would become sacrificial lambs in Game Week 26, and I'll be talking about those plans. They haven't really changed that much, and the same goes for Game Week 25, so everything is still remaining the same. I could also get an Aston Villa midfielder, so maybe Jacob Ramsey for Gray. I wouldn't actually mind that, even for a -4, and he could displace someone in my starting 11, so someone like Dennis, Edouard, or Rafinha. If not, I can get Coutinho for Jotte, but I just don't think that move makes any sense right now, especially after Jotte's haul and that double game week in 26. What I would be concerned about going forward is that Jotte could rotate with Diaz, Firmino, Mane and Salah. I think there could be a bit of interchanging. Salah's pretty much the only one who's going to be nailed, let's be honest, but the others, that could all be open. Mane might be a bit more nailed than we originally think, so maybe it's between the other three to get that final spot in the team. But regardless of my thoughts there, I think Jotte is worth keeping. Even if he does miss out one of those double game week 26 fixtures, I'll accept that so long as he can do pretty well in the one he actually plays. As you can see, we would have plenty of double game week 25 players as well, so we'd have triple United in De Gea, Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandez. Not something I would recommend for the long term, but for Game Week 25 it looks pretty decent, and I've got Cucurella in there to cover Brighton, and they have good fixtures once again up until Game Week 28, and the rest looks pretty solid, as I already discussed in the Game Week 25 analysis of my lineup. And this is the only change: Bruno Fernandez coming in, Digne, great, and Livramento would be on the bench. Let's keep an eye on Gray's injury. I, once again, wouldn't mind taking a hit to get Ramsey in. Let me know, would you take that hit for Ramsey? Would you even get Coutinho in or make other changes? What do you think would be the key to improving this squad? And probably there's a lot of ideas flying around. Dennis, I mean, everything could be improved if we're looking at it objectively, but I'm still quite happy going into Gameweek 25 and even in 26. I'm going to be showing you that in a second, and you'll see how my transfer plans have been altered, if they actually have been at all. In Gameweek 26, I would still be looking to make free transfers, so Cody coming in for Cucurella, Salah coming in for Bruno Fernandez, and Kane coming in for Cristiano Ronaldo. That would be for a -8 in Gameweek 26, and the other transfer you saw in Gameweek 25 would be a free solitary transfer, Bruno Fernandez in for Foden. So let me know what you think of these transfer plans, and I would rather have Heung-min Son than Harry Kane, but that would require another hit. And which midfielder do I get rid of? There's Bowen, I don't want to get rid of him. Jotte, even with that double, I just don't think it's worth it. And even Rafinha, he could possibly be one that I get rid of for Heung-min Son, but then who do I get up front, and is it worth taking that many hits? Who knows, to be honest, but let me know what you think, and I would have nothing left in the bank with these moves. I could go for Aït-Nouri, but as we saw today in the game against Arsenal, he was on the bench, and this is something I was talking about in previous videos, and just on the day where I uploaded a transfer tips video talking about Aït-Nouri being a buy, he is finally benched. So my concerns about him, look, he's still a good asset, especially around 4.4 million, one of the best, in fact, when he does play, but he's going to be occasionally rotated, and I can see that happening in Gameweek 26, but someone like Cody or Kilman just offers you that security, and Salah has just gone up in price. Hopefully the same doesn't happen with Harry Kane, but to be honest, I do expect that to happen over the next week or two, and if I bring in Bruno Fernandez in Gameweek 25, I think Salah could actually go up in price once again before the time I actually bring him back in, so it's going to be very difficult to actually make all these moves that I want, so it's going to be very tricky, and I already knew this. I think getting Digne in instead of Davis might actually have been a bad decision as well, because it gives me less leeway with making these transfers. I probably have to make these quite early in every single week in order to achieve the team I want, but I could also have other issues arise overall. But as you can see, quite a lot of double game week players in 26. The only ones in my lineup that don't have a double game week are Cancelo and Jeroboam. The rest would have a double game week, and also in game week 27 I would have a full 11. I would just bench Ramsdale and the 3 Liverpool players. The rest would play, but then the Mari Gray could become Jacob Ramsey by that point, and I could also bring in Philippe Coutinho. So I have a few options there. Coutinho could be that Jotte replacement that we're talking about. So let me know what you think of all these transfer plans, and who would you be captaining in game week 25 and also 26. I mean, to be honest, we all know it's going to be Salah, but if you don't have Salah, I want to see if any of you don't have him, who would you be captaining instead? And also, what do you think of those transfer plans I outlined for every single week? Obviously, by the way, I keep on talking about this, but in Game Week 26, I'm looking to use the triple captaincy armband on the Egyptian. I think that's going to be quite a simple choice. The rest of the chips could be quite open, but Game Week 26, I'm quite settled on that triple captaincy. But thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. And good luck with Game Week 25 and also Game Week 26. So 2 doubles in a row. 26 is going to be the big one, but first let's focus on Game Week 25. And thank you to all the channel members, so Aranya, Rock and Roll and Yarang, who are in the Captain and Legend tiers, and thank you to all the Differential members. You can become a member by clicking the join button, so check out the description below and you can see a list of all the perks which are available to you. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and I've uploaded some UCL fantasy content recently. The same goes for FPL, and we've been quite consistent, and obviously that's in large part thanks to all of you and this great community. And just enjoy the football. That's the most important thing. I keep on saying it. It's kind of like a trademark at this point. Let me know if I should change that as well, and I'll see you next time.